After the first international break of the year, we're back. Bringing you all the action from week 5 in MLS. As teams continue to fight for the early ascendancy. We begin at BMO Field as Toronto FC went in search of back-to-back home wins up against Ronnie Dyler's NYCFC.
Canada reached a first World Cup in 36 years. And a week on at BMO Field, could Toronto carry the feel-good factor into MLS?
Jonathan Osorio gives Toronto FC the lead!
Aiming to burst the bubble, the champions, NYCFC.
Tyler's Magno meets it with the head!
Your commentators are David Prutton and Richard Connolly.
Rodriguez through for Talles Magno, and why did he go to ground? Well, there was a touch, and it's a penalty for NYCFC. And Cozy Thompson on full debut is the young man who's conceded it. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong, but Talles Magno was in a terrific position and his heels were clipped.
That second angle doesn't do any real favours, doesn't it, for Talles Magno? Yes, the heels do collide, but it's more Magno with himself rather than actually Thompson coming across and taking his feet.
No penalty is the call. Drew Fisher overturns the decision and therefore will revoke the yellow card as well. And Toronto FC have got away with one there. Parks intervening neatly for NYCFC. Now Talles Magno, and through to Maxi Morales. And there was no flag. Off the line by O'Neill. And then Bono getting hands to it. And Toronto living dangerously. New York City FC are highly fired up right now. I think we've got a game on our hands if we didn't at the beginning. It's Osorio. That's nice. Jesus Jimenez, that's really nice. It came suddenly, it came quickly, it came like a knife through butter.
Exactly what was needed is exactly what's just happened for the home side. You see 2 passes there and then a finish, Jimenez. It's been NYCFC predominantly during the course of the first half an hour, but the first real clinical effect on the game has come from Toronto, and that is exquisite.
Concentration required for Sean Johnson. The left boot of Petrasso, or the right of Pozuelo. It's a wicked ball! And flicked home for TFC. It's McNaughton who is celebrating. He and the defender were close together. Either way, 2 minutes from half-time, the home side are 2-0 up.
The ball in is absolutely exceptional. It's just nicked in and away from his goalkeeper, isn't it? Thiago Martins, the man with the final touch.
Castellanos kept it in. Here's Gabriel Pereira on debut. And here's Parks. And a fine save by Bono. And well defended on the follow-up by Shane O'Neill.
It's a really good save because it comes through a real raft of bodies. Smartly down to his left-hand side, Alex Bono. It's that man Parks hovering around the outside of the 18-yard box. Really smart save.
In by Morales, that was good, and there's the goal! Scored by Hebert. Deep in stoppage time. Probably too deep to change the outcome. It's finished. Toronto FC 2, New York City FC 1.
I think we can take the things that we're trying to do and just be that much sharper in all areas. But I see the confidence of the team. I see good performances by key players. I see young guys improving, so those are all things that are very positive.
After beating MLS Cup champions NYCFC before the break, The Philadelphia Union picked up where they left off. Sergio Santos finding Julian Carranza to give the home team a flying start. Less than 4 minutes gone when they took some of the steam out of a Charlotte side who'd won their last 2 matches. The expansion club was yet to take a point on the road though. When Ben Bender had the chance to take Charlotte to the break on level terms, he could only hit the side netting. Instead, their problems increased inside the first minute of the second half, courtesy of a dreadful mistake from Christian Kalina.
Oh, given away! Quick shot, goal! Gazdag goes in 4 straight games, a 2-0 Union lead.
From there, the outcome was never in doubt. Philadelphia's undefeated record this campaign in no danger. It was more a case of how many they'd score. Kalina denied Daniel Gazdag a second goal in the closing stages, but the damage had already been done.
The New England Revolution's defeat to Charlotte 2 weeks ago was perhaps the clearest sign yet that 2022 isn't going to hit the same high notes as last year. They needed goalkeeper Brad Knighton's intervention to stop the Red Bulls' Frankie Amaya from heaping on more problems. But the second half at Gillette Stadium carried similar traits. The Revs again required the noble Knighton as Gerhard Struber's side continued to be the more adventurous. Their ambitions would certainly have been scaled back inside the final 20 minutes when Emmanuel Boateng's pace caused Amaya to misjudge his lunge for the ball. A second yellow card for the Red Bulls midfielder, and a sense the door was now ajar for New England. But they toiled. More probably should have come from Sebastian Leget's opportunity, but sights of goal weren't as plentiful as the hosts would have liked. And then, bang on the 90-minute mark, the sting in the tail. Ashley Fletcher's cross, cleared by Andrew Farrell, but straight into teammate Matt Polster. The New York Red Bulls were about to become the first team in MLS in 10 years to win their first 3 away matches in a new season. It wasn't quite the last kick of the game, though. Adam Buxer provided that. The Revs forward, perhaps frustrated at the flailing arm of Sean Nealis, offered a petulant act of revenge. The poll dismissed, and that's 3 defeats in a row for last year's Supporters' Shield winners, something that didn't happen at all to them in 2021.
FC Cincinnati had won 2 in a row before losing away to Charlotte during the break. Back on home turf, they were quick to get off the mark.
Vasquez! And Vasquez sneaks it into the back of the net!
The 5th goal already for Brandon Vasquez, making this his most prolific MLS season. But Montreal's response was emphatically delivered by Georgi Mihailovic in a thrilling end-to-end encounter. Cincinnati were soon charging forward themselves. Vasquez tried to pick the perfect moment to find Dominic Badji, but his teammate wasn't required as Alistair Johnston's attempt to intervene went wrong. An own goal that had Montreal behind for the second time. That setback simply spurred on their captain Victor Wanyama, winning possession and surging forward in determined fashion to find Kai Kamara, who in turn teed up Mihailovic. All square again with less than 5 minutes to go before the players could take a well-earned break and reflect on the stunning development that concluded a frantic and unpredictable first half. Kamara completing a rapid turnaround that took Wilfried Nancy's team to a dressing room with a lead to defend. The rest of the match had a lot to live up to, but Alvis Powell maintained the momentum. Another excellent run from the man who set up Cincinnati's opening goal, this time forcing Rudy Camacho to take desperate measures and concede a penalty. It fell to Luciano Acosta to inflict the punishment. Calmly done to tie the scores again at 3-3 and put the result back in the balance for the final half hour. Another test for Montreal's resilience, passed with flying colours.
Kamara back across the goal. Torres will tap it in. The visitors answer again.
It seemed unlikely to be the final drama in a gripping contest, and so it proved in the 90th minute when Haris Medunjanin flighted a tempting cross to Nick Markanic, only for the chance to go begging as Montreal secured their first win of the season.
A near 2-hour weather delay halted the start of Inter Miami against Houston, and then when it did get going, The Dynamo almost scored within 45 seconds. Corey Baird tested Nick Marsman's attentiveness. This was a critical game for Phil Neville's team. They were still yet to win in 2022. Robbie Robinson's recent return from injury may help that, though there was no immediate impact from him. Instead, the breakthrough just after the break came from Houston's evergreen Darwin Quintero. A third in 5 games for him, which is as many as the 34-year-old managed in the whole of last season. Quintero's role in Houston's second, though, was minor. The major mistake was provided by Marsman, who missed the ball but cleaned Quintero out. A penalty to the Dynamo, of which there was little doubt. Fafa Pico was precise, and Houston in the rarest territory, a 2-goal lead away from home. Inter Miami would have been smarting. They ended up having twice as many shots on goal as their opponents and were given a prime chance to make something tangible come from that statistic. One goalkeeper's generosity down one end was matched by the other. Steve Clark conceded the spot kick for a foul on Robert Taylor, and Gonzalo Higuain rolled in a penalty for the second game running. But in stoppage time, Houston plundered a third on the counter-attack through Pico. A revelation. This, their first away win in 19 months in MLS.
Another Texan side up against Eastern Conference opposition this week were FC Dallas, away to the undefeated Chicago Fire. Kasper Schmeichel went close for the home team in a match that was short on clear-cut chances. The Dallas players admitted they found life difficult in the wet and windy conditions, but the Fire's Boris Sekulic made light of the heavy pitch in the second half, only to shoot wide, which was the closest anyone came to breaking the deadlock.
Having won their first 2 games, DC United had then lost the 2 that have followed, but it was Atlanta who were muddled in the early stages at Audi Field. Brad Guzan, the one who was eventually able to bring an end to the chaos. DC were keeping the 37-year-old goalkeeper busy in the first half. Nigel Robertha's purposeful run didn't have the ending it deserved because of Guzan, and then DC were given something to chew over. In the 94th minute, Atlanta United's Marcelino Moreno squeezed in the winner. That's now 3 games in a row that Gonzalo Pineda's side have scored significant goals in stoppage time.
To Exploria Stadium, where Orlando looked to build on the point they earned in Portland during the international break. Their visitors were Western Conference leaders LAFC, a team yet to taste defeat. Watching this one, Chris Wise.
Forward by Joao Matinho, left by Cara, on by Pato. Here is Torres, and there is Pato. That's a great goal. He's offside. The flag is up. It's not going to count. It's against Facundo Torres, the one who has provided Pato. Just a bit ahead. Terrific pass by Vela. He's located Arango as well. And he's found Rodriguez. That is a super goal. LAFC in front. And all 3 forward players involved. Enough pace on it from Arango to find Brian Rodriguez sliding in. Juan Pereira. Down by Caro. Pato 1-1. Executed with the quality we all know exists. Brilliantly done by the Brazilian. Second goal of the season for him. Orlando level. By Vela, away as far as Latif Blessing, who did get enough on it, and Juan sent that in the wrong direction, and Jesus Murillo capitalises upon it. That Orlando parity lasted just 2 minutes, and it's the first in MLS as well for Murillo. for Pereira. Let's touch that as well for Junior Urso. And then back with Pereira as well. And he's seen João Moutinho in some space. And it's 2-2. What an incredible first half. João Moutinho with 2 MLS goals for Orlando, and both of them against his former employers. Led off by Ilie Sanchez, on towards Rodriguez now, Arango. Back with Ilie Sanchez with power and beats the goalkeeper. LAFC back in front for a third time. And something special from the Spaniard for his first goal in black and gold. Really fizzing effort. Urso, Van der Vaart on the move. Time to find the cross as well. Pato somehow stopped. Crepeau very much employed. Alexander Pato must have thought he had a second, and another Orlando equaliser. Hoisted in by Pato. Away as far as Cifuentes, and now LAFC are on the move as well. Opoku to Juri Shradi. Ongo Cifuentes, and there's 2 more forward here for LAFC as well. It's Murillo, and in eventually from Opoku, and that will do it. It's finished. Orlando City 2, LAFC 4.
This team finds a way to win, and I'm very pleased with that they were rewarded again for all their hard work. You know, they worked physically hard, they were tactically disciplined, and they believed in a match plan. So I think in the end, we're very happy with these points, and again, with a win on the road. And we scored some great goals as well.
Ahead of their derby with LAFC, the LA Galaxy had to focus on toppling the Timbers. It's not easy to prosper in Portland, but the Californians were quickly in front.
Grand Sears cross, Chicharito! An outstretched toe is just enough to give the Galaxy the lead.
The wily Mexican's clever movement earned him the opener, while Samuel Grandsir was in the mood to add to his assist. Another centre, this time turned in by the unfortunate Portland defender Bill Tuiloma, leaving the home team 2 goals down with only 16 minutes on the clock. Their uphill task became a mountainous challenge in the time added on at the end of the first half, following Pablo Bonilla's altercation with Ryan Raveloson. Referee Nima Sagafi saw the clash clearly and took a dim view of Bonilla lashing out. A depleted team then for the second half, but Tuiloma redeemed himself for his own goal in spectacular style to restore some hope for Portland. A wonderful free kick which extended the Timbers' sequence of scoring in every home game since June last year. That newfound optimism didn't last long.
Edwards gets by 1, Edwards gets by 2, Chicharito! That is how you stop a comeback.
The strikers' 4th of the campaign re-established the visitors' 2-goal lead, though the cushion was less comfortable for the final half hour after the already booked Marky Delgado tripped Diego Chara to collect the game's 2nd red card. While his dismissal evened up the numbers on the field, the final scoreline remained weighted in the Galaxy's favour.
There was certainly some intrigue swirling around Allianz Field. Portland's Cascadian rivals Seattle were at a Minnesota side who were yet to lose and could have led. Abu Denladi's shot left the crossbar and the Sounders shaking. But they got their range spot on.
Lodeiro and João Bala! What a goal!
50% of the Brazilians' MLS goals have now come against the Loons. That strike arrived 7 minutes before half-time, and then 4 minutes after the break, Seattle had another. Jordan Morris wasn't even going for goal, but Brent Koolman's touch took it there. The quirk about Minnesota's season is that they've scored exactly 1 goal in every game so far. Inside the final 10 minutes, despite Jackson Reagan saying, "I didn't touch him," a penalty was awarded for that collision with Josef Rosales. Emmanuel Reynoso got the 1, but Minnesota needed more. Allianz Field certainly sensed it was coming. A Loons corner caused confusion, and somehow neither Rosales nor Robin Lod could beat Stefan Fry. Adrian Heath's team have already shown their capabilities of being a major player this season, but even when Fry couldn't hold on, Seattle just about could, as Minnesota were beaten for the first time in 2022.
The San Jose Earthquakes had just a single point to their name so far, and there was more trouble in store at home to Austin as the Texans got off to a stunning start.
And there's a drive, and there it is! Maxi Urruti.
The Argentinians' very first goal for the Verde and Black will be tough to better, and the Texans built on that advantage in the early stages of the second half. When Danny Pereira went to ground as he was pursued by Jackson Newell, video review backed the referee's opinion. A handful of shirt enough evidence to support the award of a penalty, which was taken by Sebastian Driussi. His fourth of the year had Austin seemingly in command. The Quakes weren't convinced. Francisco Calvo's header was pushed onto the bar by Brad Stuver as Matias Almeida's men tried to summon up the spirit that last September saw them overturn a 2-goal deficit in Texas and head home triumphant. Having narrowly escaped from that scare, Austin redoubled their efforts to make the points safe. This time, Felipe hit the post, leaving Josh Wolf frustrated. And the coach could only watch in dismay as San Jose won the chance to get back in the hunt. In just his second appearance as a substitute, Hosseini Bouda was hauled down by Nick Lima, which offered Jeremy Ebobisse the opportunity to open his account for the season. Not a hint of nerves. 2-1. Suddenly it was the opposition feeling anxious, and with good reason.
Kate Cowell puts a shot on! Goal! San Jose!
In the space of a couple of minutes, Austin's lead had evaporated. Could the Quakes shake them with another comeback win? Stuver foiled Ebobisse and Tommy Thompson before glory beckoned for Calvo. It was a breathless and thrilling finale, but the points were shared.
Nashville hadn't won since the opening weekend, and the Columbus Crew hadn't lost all season. So some might have considered Alex Muyle's 28th minute goal for the visitors to be a surprise. But dig a little deeper and you'd find that this was actually the fourth game in a row that the Crew had conceded the opening goal of the match. Their powers of recovery would have been tested to the extreme had Hani Mukhtar's shot crept over the line. It didn't. But unlike in recent weeks, the newly trademarked Columbus rally never arrived. Yao Yeboah came closest in the second half, but Nashville held on to what was their first ever MLS win over the Crew.
The first Rocky Mountain Cup meeting of 2022 came in Colorado, where Justin Meram marked his 300th MLS regular season appearance by teasing a foul from Keegan Rosenberry. Hotly disputed by the Rapids, but Real Salt Lake's Pablo Ruiz ignored all the fuss. The penalty jeopardised Colorado's regular season run of 18 home matches unbeaten, stretching back almost a year. Lalas Abubakar came to their rescue. Neither team was content to settle for a point. 15 minutes from time, RSL's Sergio Cordova set his sights on a second MLS goal. William Yarbrough made sure Colorado head coach Robin Fraser wouldn't end the day too unhappy.
Sporting Kansas City were able to get the better of RSL last week, and had Roger Espinoza been clean with his contact at the Vancouver Whitecaps, it might have been the trigger for back-to-back victories for Peter Vermees' team. Instead, it's now 4 defeats from their opening 6 games for SKC. Ryan Raposo squeezed in a 73rd minute winner to give Vancouver maximum points for the first time this season.
That result for Vancouver lifted them off the bottom, leaving the San Jose Earthquakes to prop up the West. The LA Galaxy climbed into 3rd place, replacing Minnesota, who dropped 5 positions to 8th. The unbeaten LAFC still lead the way.
The Philadelphia Union extended their lead at the top of the East, and like the Chicago Fire, are yet to lose. The Red Bulls are up into 2nd, while Toronto FC climbed 5 places after beating NYCFC.
Week 5 was all about the road wins.
The visitors answer again.
That is how you stop a comeback.
Whether through good fortune
Crazy old goal.
or sheer brilliance.
What a goal!
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.